Good morning and welcome to Love Island the morning after. Waking up with you this morning is me, Amy Hart.
And me, Indiyah Polack, and we are joined yet again by the one and only Joe Bag.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you feeling, Joe?
I'm feeling chirpy.
Lovely.
AF.
Last night, we had the long-awaited recoupling. But before we dive into it and get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about our predictions. So, did anyone have any predictions for last night? And did they, or not, come true?
I got them all right except for one.
And what was your one?
And my one was that Giorgio was going to recouple with Yaz. But not even Giorgio could find a connection in Casa Amor.
I did an in-depth analysis of my predictions, and the two I got wrong was I thought Tony was going to stick with Harrison, but she proved me wrong. And then also I thought that Harry was going to bring back Rheo. But he didn't.
He was undeniably single.
Yes, he was. In that vest. A bold look for vest.
I think that's the new kind of look. It was like, let me put on a little chill fit because I wasn't moving mad out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to dress up.
It was just a holiday.
Yeah, it was just a holiday.
It's their travel outfit. It's their airport outfit.
Yeah, you've really clocked them there. I love that.
Clock it.
What were your predictions?
So same with you, Joe. I actually did think that Harry was going to recouple. However, I do think there's going to be a bit backlash from it. You know, there's always that one person who comes back single, and then there is somebody to sort of feed them their tea. You know,
And I think that's going to be Emma with Helena.
Yes.
I think that Helena's going to want to dig into what Harry's actually like on the outside, and then it's going to go boom.
Emma and Harry, their discussion around the fire pit, bearing in mind what we have seen for the last few days is them having like good chats, her sort of telling him off, but him being like, yeah, no, you're right. And, you know, I'll always be here for you. And them getting on really well. And then suddenly he's like, it's come a long way to throw mud on my name.
Yeah.
And she was surprised by that.
Yeah.
That was playing up to Maya and the vibe at the fire
and also
pit.
trying to show Helena, like, no, I want you, I want you.
Yeah.
Probably because he remembers what he said on night one.
And let's run those tapes.
Yeah,
Let's run those tapes.
Because from what we
100%.
saw in Casa Amor, Emma was giving it to him, telling him about himself, and he took it pretty well. So do we also think it was a little bit of a, I don't know, defense mechanism because he didn't know who was going to air him out around that fire pit?
Yeah.
So it was like, let me stop you before you get a chance to sort of air my dirty laundry.
He said, I'm going to clear my name first of all.
Yeah.
I volunteer as a tribute.
I was waiting for Andrada to shout something. I thought she'd be a shouter.
She was pulling some faces around the fire
She
pit.
was.
Yeah. I think she's waiting for the right moment, you know.
Yeah.
We've still got a few days for the fallout.
Let's get into these couples. So first up, we had Billy Kiss and Boris. So Billy Kiss had been in a friendship couple with Giorgio, and then she'd been getting to know Boris and Martin. Did she make the right decision?
I think yes. I feel like, obviously, seeing that kiss between her and Martin, I was a little bit like, it wasn't the most romantic kiss, but I do like that she was out there exploring her options and she gave it a go. I feel like her and Boris do have a nice connection. I think there's something very cute about them, you know. She's given him a chance and she's intrigued by Boris, you know. She said around the fire pit, he's a bit of a bad boy, but she's given him a chance.
Well, this is my beef with her. I don't like this profiling men.
It was
just
a bit rough,
surrounding a buzz cut and some tattoos.
And tattoos, yeah.
This man has come in with kindness from the start.
yes.
He sat down in that fire pit. He said, Shakira, you've been treated wrong.
Yeah.
He actually went over to Billy Kiss and said, I want my Billy Kiss kiss or something.
He said, I want to be Billy Kiss.
Yeah,
I
Billy
thought that was
Kiss.
smooth.
Yeah.
I think that he's a very sweet, gentle giant type figure. And I'm glad that she's recoupled with him because Martin, I don't think that there was any form of spark there that any electrician could have made happen.
No.
Speaking of sparks, we had Giorgio. Now, he came back alone and he stayed loyal to his friendship with Billy Kiss. We did see him speak to Yasmin in Casa Amor, but decided not to recouple because he thought, you know what, I'm not going to force it and I'm not going to bring someone back for the sake of it.
Look, he could have played this two ways, right? It's Love Island.
Yeah.
And he could have just faked it, tried to get as far as he can. I think that it's very commendable what he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be to his detriment on the actual show, but I think to be a person and be true to yourself and be that kind and genuine is just testament to him as a person.
For balance, I will say, is that from day one, he was saying to Yaz, we've got this great connection. Should we share a bed? Doing all the sexy talk, snogging her all the time. So she didn't talk to anyone else.
Yeah.
He's in a
Okay.
friendship
True.
couple. He's got no loyalty to anyone at home. He really likes her. He's laying it on thick with her. They're having all these chats, snogging all the time, sleeping in a bed together. Why would she talk to anyone else?
Yeah.
And then at the last moment, he goes, actually, I'd rather take no one back than you.
Yeah.
He has wasted her Casa Amor
did.
experience.
What?
I love him, but he's wasted her Casa Amor experience.
I appreciate that devil's advocate as well because actually putting that on the table, at least if it was a blip at the start, as you said, maybe if he brought her back and then just tried a little bit more to get to know her and it didn't work, at least you've given her more than like a couple of days.
Yeah.
You know?
And you've allowed her to get to know other people.
Yeah.
If he'd said, like, oh, no, go off and have chats with other people, that'd be perfect. Because she seemed like such a lovely, lovely girl.
Yeah.
She really did. But you know what? Maybe this is a thing of just, Casa Amor, and Yaz was the bombshell. And maybe this is an example of maybe she could have taken a leaf out of Andrada's book. As we saw, she was getting to know Ben and Dejon.
Indiyah's like,
because
she should have bombshelled harder.
You got to keep your options open. You can't go into Casa Amor and speak to one guy. They're so unpredictable.
But I just think on paper, Giorgio really likes me.
Yeah, it was very...
He's in a friendship couple.
Yeah.
Fabulous. I've done my thing.
Something must have happened that we didn't see because it was a very slapdash like decision, wasn't it?
I just think for the amount of effort she put in, she should have been brought back to the main villa.
Yeah, but it was giving ick. I don't know what it could have been, a little fart, the daybed. I don't know. But it was too slapdash all of a sudden for Giorgio.
Yeah. Nonetheless, he stayed true to himself, and I think it was the right thing to do, because nobody likes their time wasted.
Next up, unsurprisingly, Meg and Dejon chose to stay together. Obviously, Meg didn't get to know anyone. Martin asked if he could share a bed, and she said, if you want.
If you want, babe.
And Dejon obviously got to know Andrada, but in a respectful way, in true Dejon fashion. No kissing outside of challenges, all talk, and then no carrot at the end of it.
Guys, I'm glad they've had the ultimate test.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for them. I just kind of want them to close it off and do the Love Island thing now for the next, however long it is till the final. I mean, you guys say this, don't you? That the time...
Every day feels like a week.
With that being said, they've been in there for about 9 years.
Yeah.
So get the proposal over and done with,
Yeah.
lock each other off and just go for it,
Yeah.
I was not surprised with watching that. I was just like, right, cool.
It was classic Dejon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like he does this thing of saying he's going to be respectful. To him, respectful means doing everything else apart from kissing and sleeping in a bed. But I feel like now this is when people decide to lock in. So hopefully there's some hope and they're finally going to lock in, because I can't see now. We've got Casa Amor, we've still got some time, and then we've got the final. If any more bombshells do come in, you can't keep being open after this point now.
Well, what is the next test? Is it tape? Is it a boys' holiday? Is it meeting the family? There's so many tests. I'm just like, you guys need to just commit to the relationship.
Do we think Meg should be worried? Obviously, we did hear that he was getting to know Andrada, and that was mentioned around the fire pit. Do we think that's going to be maybe explained in detail when everyone kind of, gets away from the fire pit and there's a bit of fallout?
It will be explained, and she'll just go, he was just exploring the connections in Casa Amor. He slept on the daybed. He didn't kiss anyone outside of a challenge.
Yeah.
End of. Him and others that will come on to will get away with this scot-free.
So, happy for them.
Yeah.
I just hope it lasts now.
Just hope it lasts.
I almost want us to just start rooting for them.
What, just to make your life easier?
Yeah. I just want them to fully commit and be that easygoing couple in there. Almost kind of like what Kieran and Nicole were last season. I want them to be my comfort blanket.
Yeah.
None of these couples are my comfort blanket. I watch this with cortisol pumping through my veins because I just want people to get together and be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a love show at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's love.
Where is the love?
Bombshell entrances, shocking twists, and stunning pre-love fashion. Could the villa get any better? Let's dive into all the Love Island fits with eBay. It was a heart-racing start to the week with Harry making tough decisions between Shakira and Helena. Thankfully, he kept his cool in a pre-love pattern shirt worn previously by Series 11's Omar. Helena followed suit with a spin on the Georgia varsity jacket worn by Villa bestie Emily during eBay's preppy Americana party. Just goes to show a great statement pre-love piece slays every time. And after setting things straight with Harrison earlier in the week, birthday girl Tony got the greatest gift, turning heads in the gorgeous metallic Bronx and Banco dress last seen on All-Star 2's Grace and rekindling their fiery romance once again. That's the power of pre-loved. So if you're looking to turn heads this season, meet the one in Pre-Loved and eBay, sponsors of Love Island.
Next up, we have Shakira and Ty. And I feel like this was a nice little happy ending for Shakira, despite her nearly ending up in a triangle for the 500th time. But she is now coupled up with Ty. What do we think about that?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
We're going to hear a lot more duck.
Yeah,
You're
duck,
right, duck. And I can't wait.
Do you know what? That is peak comfortability, though. For example, Dami's obviously Irish, but he does have a bit of a Nigerian accent. And that only comes out when he's around his close friends and family.
Okay.
So, when I was speaking to him in the villa, he was like, Irish, sometimes
Right.
sounding American. But now
Okay.
we're 3 years in, he literally speaks to me in a Nigerian accent. And I'm like, oh, who's this saying?
Yeah, I love
but I
that.
like it. I think he's the best when he's just himself. Yeah,
So it's nice that Shakira's got that comfortable so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I was just saying. I'm shipping them because I want to see couples blossom
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
fall in love. And he does seem like such a better fit for her than
Yeah.
Harry. The faces she was pulling last night, the fire
That
pit.
one was my favourite.
Yeah.
So giddy. I just love it. I love that she's happy.
Yeah. I hope that he's got a big enough personality that will come out in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
We want to see her be really happy. We want to see more of her. So,
Well, I
Yeah.
also think the sign of people being comfortable in a relationship, and I find one of the best parts of a relationship is the gossip with each other.
Yes.
And that's when you know it's good, right?
Yeah.
This is what I go off in my relationships. And when they were sat there talking about the chats with Helena and they were gossiping, and he was like, well, she told me this, I thought, you two like each other.
Absolutely.
You really like each other because you're sat there gossiping.
I mean, do we think now we can say for good this is the end of that love triangle between Shakira and Helena and whoever the third wants to be at this
Well,
point?
I'm praying so, Indiyah.
I'm praying. So I think Shakira won't go back to Harry.
No.
So it's just if Helena wakes up one day and decides she wants Ty again.
Yeah. You know?
Which you never know.
We never know.
I
We've
guess
still
we'll
got
never
3
know.
weeks. Shakira was obviously coupled up with Ben before,
Yeah.
and he recoupled with Andrada.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ben was worried that she was only going back to the main villa with him to get to know Dejon. Do we think Ben is a stepping stone?
Yes and no. So a few episodes ago, I would have said yes, just because of how heavily Dejon was flirting with Andrada. However, I feel like now it's become very clear that, you know, he loves his Meg, his head's not going to turn. I feel like it's going to be a straight and narrow. You know, there's no leeway for Andrada to try and slide in there. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. After the recoupling, it will be a lot of like Harry slept in bed with Rheo. They were kissing in bed. He said he was going to recouple with her. Yada yada.
Yeah.
That will take like the full headlines. By then, Dejon can close it off with Meg. There'll be like love's young dream.
I do think there's going to be some scope for Andrada getting in there somehow. Because it's going to be juicy. And I think I know a messy, dramatic girl when I see one. And I mean that in the best, most positive way because me and my friends are those girls. And I know Andrada's going to go back in there and want to prove a point. I think she's with Ben, but she's also like not silly to the fact that she's only been in Casa Amor. She hasn't really explored like everything. She might have the balls to start pulling Dejon for chats in front of Meg.
I mean, she might do. I mean, we did hear Meg, you know, express some of her annoyance around the fire pit. So there could be a bit of fallout from it.
I
to be
know,
fair.
who knows? If Meg starts getting a bit like, you know, Andrada this, Andrada that, she might be like, fine, then I'll take your man.
Yeah.
You never
You're
know.
asking for
you
it.
never know with this season. You really don't.
Right, next up, we have a very lovely couple that you know what, I'm rooting for these two. I think they're absolutely fab. It's Tony and Cash. So Tony recoupled with Cash. I feel like because she's been going through so much turmoil with Harrison, she's almost forgotten what it feels like to be first pick.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about this coupling.
We love Tony.
We love
do.
Tony.
We
We
do.
love everyone, but
Yeah.
Tony has a very special place in our heart. And I feel like it's because we might lose her one day back to America.
No, that can
No.
never happen.
No, we paid for her visa.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We got to get her an indefinite stay,
Yeah.
okay?
That's for ruining my birthday. I just love her.
Obsessed.
I love her.
Yeah.
I think that Harrison might have just been on a bit of the younger side for her in terms of maturity. And I noticed even at the recoupling with just body language of the way Harrison had his arm around Lauren and was
Yeah.
just being very like one-liners and little comments.
It
And I
is, so you say.
Tony won't even entertain that, as you've seen. And as we've all said, she's a cabana diva, right? She's come
Yeah.
from this job where she has to deal with people like this left, right, and centre. She has control of this situation now, and she's with someone she likes. And I think we'll see her thrive from
Yeah.
here on out. And I genuinely don't think there is much unfinished business with her and Harrison from this point on.
No, absolutely
I think
not.
that they kind of set the boundary
Yeah.
at the fire pit.
I think they're done.
What is it with boys and, you know, making the same decision that you do and then trying to get a bit mouthy? What was that?
I
Why was
know.
Harrison like giving it the one and being like, oh, you know what, I'm happy for you. And then also trying to talk to Cash around the fire pit. Save it.
Do you
Don't-
think they know each other?
I don't think
Because
so.
he said you've got yourself a great bloke there.
You know, like when guys would be like, oh, yeah, she's a good one. What the hell do you know?
But it's almost like sibling rivalry. Like I
Yeah,
did it first.
yeah.
It's like,
Okay,
well, this was
yes.
my plan, so and you've
Yeah.
taken the same
Yeah.
plan. Like, no.
We had another iconic moment from Tony of this to go with this and this.
I also love that Tony's super, super animated, but still
Yes.
like nonchalant at the same time.
Yeah.
Like she does all the, you know, the stuff, but
Yeah.
then she's also like, And
Yeah. And she still is also very in touch with her feelings because she did say something along the lines of her recoupling is like, some people might think I'm a bit fiery and all that kind of stuff, but I do have feelings and I am quite sensitive and soft sometimes. And I think that was really nice to hear because I feel like there's a lot of women out there that will put on this hard shell because sometimes men can be a bit much, right?
Yeah.
And people will do all these things just because they think you can take it. And I feel like, you know, she kind of was a bit vulnerable around that fire pit.
yeah.
And Cash sees her for who she is.
Definitely. Like, guys, newsflash, strong women have feelings too.
Right?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, she's very strong and she's had to put up with a lot in there.
She has.
And I'm glad that she's got her knight in shining armour.
Yeah.
I just hope it all works out for her.
So do I, Amy.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't want to get my hopes up too much like I've done so many times.
We're being super positive
so many
right
times
now.
before.
Yeah.
Harrison and Lauren obviously look like a great couple. They had great spark.
We've got great
Casa Amor.
chemistry.
Great chemistry. All we saw them do was really snog.
I haven't seen them talk much.
But they love kissing each other. So, you know, I'm sure they'll go far.
And Harrison's parents on After Sun, they described Harrison's type and it's Lauren to a T.
Okay.
So I'm not actually that surprised that they seem to have taken a liking to each other.
Yeah.
Because it's that kind of like Shakira-esque.
Well, I was about to ask, although we love Ty and we love Lauren, now
do you
Tony's got the cash in the
think?
bank.
I
Do we
like
think that Shakira and Harrison could happen?
Do we think yes? Do we hope no? Because like I really just like all those couples individually, but I do agree with your theory that if there was an off day, convo, you know, like just, you know, in the
100%.
bedroom or something on the passing, it could happen.
But do you know what? Like you said, do we think yes? Do we hope no? I absolutely hope no at this point. If it was maybe a few weeks ago when things were fresh, fair enough. But I feel like Shakira and Tony have developed a really strong friendship. And she's also watched this guy treat her best friend a bit like poop.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
and
like...
Ty's so nice.
He's so nice. It's fresh.
Yeah.
It's something new. And I just feel like Shakira's not really a leftovers girl. No. It's too far gone now.
Yeah. Agreed.
Something that actually took me by surprise was Harry staying loyal to Helena. Now, we saw him walk down that decking by himself and we heard no heels and they mingled up and gave each other a big fat hug and a kiss. He even span her around. Yeah. Did we expect this? Because I didn't.
We are so back.
Yeah, so back. You say staying loyal. Whatever staying loyal means.
Whatever that means.
Everyone has their own definition of staying loyal.
Absolutely.
And Harry did his definition of staying loyal. Again, tried to cover himself, not in glory, around the fire pit by saying, you know, I explored my connection. What else was I supposed to do? I wasn't going to sit on my own for 3 days. And she said, yeah, I've explored too. Again, everyone has their own definition of exploring a connection. As we said before, once you start snogging people in bed, that is over the line.
Absolutely.
But do you think Helena is going to have a go at him, or is she just going to say, well, you came back to me, so great news?
The thing for me, guys, is that they really match each other's energy, like super well. Even with the fact that he was kind of defending himself, she was. They were in each other's arms. We're so back, we're happy. Even when Emma came back, Helena wasn't even phased, really.
Yeah.
So at this point, I just think they are made for each other. And I do think they're one of the strongest couples in the villa in terms of just like matching energy and vibes. We might not agree entirely with their like moral compass or what they believe is loyal, but I just think they seem super happy together. They were one of the happiest couples there reuniting last night, you know, 100%. Compared to like Meg and Dejon, there was still the Andrada, there was still like a little bit of an undercurrent. They're just happy to be back with each other.
Yeah. So do we think that Harry is essentially going to get off scot-free for exploring with Rheo?
Yeah.
Or is that going to come out at all? Do you think any of the Casa girls are going to sort of speak about it?
Even if it does, I just don't think Helena's phased.
No.
I really don't.
She's let him do everything else.
It's like, why now?
Why would she be bothered now?
You know what? To be honest, this could be me wishful thinking, but I don't forget things. And a fair few episodes ago, she did sit down with the girls and the girls were saying, look, Helena, if he does kiss outside the challenge and move mad, you need to put your foot down. Meg was saying, you know, when they're having the pajama party, you are just being a little too soft. And she did say, if he kisses outside of a challenge, that will be it for me. And he did that and more. He kissed her also in bed. So I feel like she could sweep it under the rug yet again, but he has actually done some questionable things in Casa Amor to make her think, okay, now you are just taking the mick out of me.
Well, if movie night returns, then that might be where we see things fire up. But
Yeah.
I just think for now, they're
For
just
now.
happy to they've got
back
like
together,
giddy,
yeah.
rose-tinted glasses on and all that.
And to be honest, I hate to admit it, but she did miss him.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
can
she
see it
really
on her
missed
face.
him.
She
Yeah,
really
yeah.
missed
She
him.
did.
So, hey.
Next up, we had Yasmin, who was in a couple with Connor. Obviously, they'd only been together a couple of days. They had like one kiss. So was no surprise that she cracked on with the other boys.
Yeah.
She came out with Jamie, new spice baby.
New
is what
spice
she said.
baby.
Yeah.
Do we see anything from them really?
It's fresh.
I think the problem is with Yaz, and we've loved her, she's been great entertainment, but her entertainment is her grafting, her biting, her, I want you to shut the F up and kiss me.
Yeah.
It's all of that. And I feel like once she gets into a relationship with someone, we lose that sort of the drama around it.
I completely agree. And I think that the reason we've loved her is because she's tried, sampled, bitten, chewed
Yeah.
most men in that villa. That
She's treating it
now,
like a food court.
yeah, either he needs to kind of draw out a bit more personality from her, or we need to see like a few more layers and levels to her. Right now, our Yaz is an
Yeah.
onion and we just stripped away, the skin on the
Yeah, like the
outside.
crispy
that
bit, yeah.
Always I hate clearing up. And you just want to get down to the core of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
onion. It'd be nice to see her like have an emotional chat because I don't know much about her.
Yes.
I feel like I know some of the other islanders a bit more from their stories and what they've said.
Yeah.
So we can hope for that, and maybe that might make them stronger and we'll be more invested in them.
I will say though, I don't think we know many of them that well this year. Like, does anyone know anyone's favourite colour?
No.
No.
Does anyone know how many siblings anyone's got?
No.
Does anyone know
No.
any funny stories from their past?
No,
Only Meg and Scott.
But do you know what?
Yeah.
There was only one person so far that I've seen kind of peel back one of her layers, and that was when she had a little fling with Giorgio. However, I must say, Casa Amor is the place where it's just fun, flirty,
Yeah.
fiery. You're just trying to get back into the main villa.
Do you think it might not last?
No, I think what will happen with Jamie, he's done the flirting, he's got himself back to the main villa, but he does strike me as the kind of guy that can hold a conversation and maybe be kind of like Giorgio and peel back the layers and not be too overly sexual like the other boys.
Do you know what we
Hopefully.
also are forgetting here as well is that there's Casa boys and girls that haven't met yet. And
Yeah.
we don't know whether...
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just don't know whether he might be happy with Yaz, but then,
Could he be
Somebody
happier?
else.
So, yeah, that could happen as well.
Right, next up on the roster of couples is Connor and Emma.
Yes.
Now, this was a little bit different because, as we all know, Emma is Harry's ex. So they did recouple, and she did have a few things to say about, Harry around the
She
fire
had a lot
pit.
to say.
A lot to say. But what do we think?
For Connor and Emma, I think that they had a really nice chat in Casa.
Yeah.
They had deeper chats about getting to know each other more and about like kids and all the nice stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't super like sexual kisses
Yeah.
in bed, under Harrison under the covers. So because of that, I ship them.
They're probably the only ones that we saw having some sort of deep
an actual
actual
conversation.
conversation. I feel like she's probably the most level-headed out of all of them. And I think she's looking for someone chilled.
She seems like a nice, normal girl.
Yeah, she does.
She
She actually
really
does.
does. The vibe I got from her, she's just a really grounded person
Yeah.
that's gone through a bit of not nice times with
Yeah.
her ex and had to confront him about it. I
Yeah.
don't think it's any deeper than that.
And I don't mean to be that person, but after seeing Emma and how she carries herself, her morals and her
Yeah.
values, the way she's come at Harry, how did that relationship work out?
Yeah, I know.
Like, how did they get together? Because I would not put them together at all. If they were in the starting lineup together,
Yeah.
I would have never
No.
assumed that they were in a
I
relationship.
totally agree.
Yeah.
So good for her
Yeah.
for
Good
For
standing her
yeah.
ground.
It's probably going to be very awkward, Helena living in a villa
It
with your
will be.
boyfriend's ex.
Yeah.
So
I am glad that she got to know someone though, because I did worry that having Harry there would sort of
Yeah.
stunt her Casa Amor experience.
Yeah.
But she's met someone very, very nice
And
as
Connor's
well. Like
lovely.
everyone that we've spoken to who's come out of the villa has said that he is just a thoroughly nice boy. So
Yeah.
Which is what we like to hear.
yes, that's what we like to hear.
that's what we like to hear.
Finally.
agree.
The biggest shock, Tommy recoupling with Lucy.
Yeah.
Emily staying loyal and therefore Emily being left single. So we're obviously like, it's a situationship, it's a relationship born of the other two running off with each other.
Yeah.
So, of course they haven't got a good connection. But the fact that Emily was so sure he wasn't going to recouple, and the fact that everyone else around the fire pit was so shocked, I think that maybe they did have a really strong connection.
My view on that, to play devil's advocate, is I think Emily loves to manifest, and I think she really had some positive affirmations in the villa
Yeah.
in her Casa experience about how much she felt connected to Tommy and how much they liked each other. When in actual fact, from what we've all seen, I just wasn't feeling that or saw that.
Yeah.
Even the way they communicated on that little brunch date they did pre-Casa,
Yeah.
I wasn't getting that oomph. And this is the first time we've all seen Tommy with a bit of oomph.
Yeah.
I obviously feel bad for her.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
a real
100.
shame how it's turned out. Maybe there were things we didn't see. Maybe it was more passionate than we saw.
Yeah.
But Tommy seems happy.
Yeah. Do you think Lucy will stay with Tommy, or do you think she's going to go off to pastures new?
I think she'll stay with him for now. Again, as a bombshell, she's seen the rough ride he's had and might be looking at him as a meal ticket, or might just be trying to get to know him. They did have a cute connection. And, Tommy confessed, I didn't expect to like someone as much as I like you.
Yeah.
So I don't think Tommy himself even expected it,
Yeah.
But, I mean, touching on Emily, what I will say is, again, I didn't think her connection with Tommy was that strong. I think it was just sort of just what was happening in the moment. But I feel like I have seen this situation with Emily before, like when she was with Connor. I feel like sometimes she might overestimate the situation and think somebody's, really into her when they are getting to know other people. Just because she's pure, I think she's a kind-hearted girl.
She's super positive.
Yeah,
and she finds the positive in everything.
I think
which
she's really
is an
kind.
amazing thing.
Yeah.
But life can be hard.
Yeah.
Life
And
can
the villa,
be
at you.
hard.
And the villa can come at you.
Yeah. We've said before that Tommy, because of his journey so far and the fact that everyone loves him, he could very well get to the final. Do you think Lucy is the girl to take him there?
It really depends on how the next week pans out, genuinely. You just don't know at this early stage where they haven't been exposed to every personality in there.
Yeah.
But I hope that they do make it to the final together.
Now, every day we are encouraging you to comment down below, to send us emails, and we've got what you are saying right here. So Tracy Jacob 7091 said, we need a twist where the Casa Amor girls do the picking and the Casa Amor boys do the picking, and what original girl or boy is left single gets dumped from the villa. Tracy, apply to be a producer now.
Tracy, that would be carnage.
Yeah.
But we love it.
Yeah.
Let's do it next series.
Right, Tracy, apply now.
That would be a lot. Imagine not having the choice.
The power shift would
The
be
power
crazy.
shift would be insane.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we have Adam Tendo _player_1. Now, this person said, Harry and Helena look good together. Helena was right. There's an undeniable chemistry between them. And Dejon made a good point of Harry being more himself with Helena.
That's what I said today, guys. It's just one of those things where they match each
One of
other's
those
energy,
things.
whether we like it or we don't.
Are you Adam Tendo?
Yeah, that's actually
We are Adam
that's
Tendo.
actually my burner account.
Yeah, your gaming channel. Joe Bags is a great guest. And then we've got a couple of ones. Adam Mitchell said, honestly, the best season since series 2 and 5.
Oh, you little! I beg to differ.
then-
Season 8 fans, stand up. But hey.
And then Tina via email said, loving this series. It's carnage. So are we.
We
so
are indeed.
we.
Might be my favourite season ever. I'm joking. Love both of yours.
That is all we have time for today. What a chat, guys.
I can't wait for tonight. If you also can't wait for tonight, make sure you look out for First Look. It will be on Love Island YouTube and all the Love Island socials later on this afternoon. And we will see you here, same time, same place tomorrow morning. Mwah!
Bye.